hit the record button. Boom. And I think she's chimed in. I've got the record sign on there. So everybody, welcome back to Recruiting You. And we're super excited to have our guest on. But I know, you're probably wondering, all right, Rashab, what is the fun fact? What's the trivia question? Lay it on me. And we've gone on a streak now where people have known the answer. And my goal for this is for our audience and our guests to not know the answer so I can feel a little bit smarter about myself. But anyways, Alexis, April, question. What is the name of the company that Elon Musk currently runs that is currently digging tunnels into the ground?
Oh my gosh.
Any clue?
The only company I think might be his other than Tesla is SpaceX or whatever his space one is. I don't know any tunnel digging one.
You've got two of them, and he's got Solar City. That's like the cheapest solar that you can put on your tiles, but he's also got the boring company. So the idea is you dig tunnels into the ground, and then that way you can avoid traffic because your car would go in, you'd go into the tunnel, and it would just drop. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad we've broken the streak. So for any listeners that didn't know, yes, it's the boring company. Lots of smart people working on that. But for us here, lots of smart people coming on, just like April, and we're excited to have her. Curious, thinking about you, all the colleagues that you probably talk to, any fun facts, I guess, you or your colleagues necessarily wouldn't know about you the first time they meet you?
Me?
Yes.
Not any fun facts that my colleagues wouldn't know about me?
Exactly.
I'm the oldest of 5 kids. That's about it.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of us.
What's the fondest memory growing up in that household? What was Thanksgiving or any other big holiday like?
Crazy, but very fun. We used to have our own family newspaper, the Beth Family Weekly Times. So it was really exciting.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I think for people that are super used to coming up to the show for a little bit, have watched the episodes, they're like, hey, Rashad, did you just steal Alexis' thunder? Because she always chimes in with the question. We are unfortunately so sad to see her leave. I think this is going to be the second to last podcast that she does with us before she goes back to her awesome time at Virginia Tech as a rising senior. So we're just passing off the baton. Excited to have her expertise and everything like that. But April, let's dive into it. We're short, sweet, straight to the point. And our listeners know, hey, we get into this fictitious scenario and play out this hypothetical. And I'm a campus recruiter right now who is really just struggling to close candidates, right? I'm talking to a lot of students who are juggling multiple offers, and I just feel like there's something off, and I can't sell them on why they should come work for us. Now, I know you're not a campus recruiter by day, 24/7. You work in a different division. You're talking to legal folks, like people that are super smart, people that are probably juggling a lot of other offers, who know their worth, and somehow you have to work with them to sell them on wherever you're going to be placing them, however you work. So I'm curious, have you come across a situation? And if so, what would your advice be to me to make sure that it doesn't happen moving forward?
Definitely. Well, thank you for having me. So I would think the first thing I would say is you have to almost think of your position, even though you're recruiting or in campus recruiting is a sales position, you are pretty much having to sell candidates. I mean, even in this market, the unemployment rate for people who are qualified and presentable and articulate is still very low. So I think you really need to go into it thinking of your position as a sales position. I know when we have a job, the first thing we identify is kind of what we would call the selling points or perks. So know what's, separates or differentiates the position you're working on versus others that the candidates are applying for. So you probably, you guys are recruiting for a variety of positions, so the selling points will be different. But one thing you need to do is be, I would say, knowledgeable about the market. If you're recruiting for positions, for instance, for communications majors right out of college, I would want to know, if I were you, what other jobs are these people applying for? What's the target salary range? If you're looking for other target salary range information, a lot of recruiting agencies such as mine do put out a brochure that's, by region throughout the country. So I think something like that is great. Or when you're talking to candidates, maybe asking, hey, I know you're interviewing for other positions. What's the salary range those roles are offering? Just so being really knowledgeable so you can know what differentiates your company and position in their jobs. Other selling points, I think, especially now, are opportunity to work remote, after this is all over. If you have great health benefits, some firms or companies have every other Friday off, I've noticed, or half days on Fridays, things like that. Think of what would entice you for a role. So I think going into it, knowing the selling points, I think also when you're starting to talk to someone, I would definitely know, it sounds like you're aware, Shab, when they have multiple offers or other interviews, which is good, but I would make sure you're staying on top of that and just kind of conversing with them, oh, I know you're interviewing for another position. How's that going? How far along are you in the interview process? What excites you about that job? Do you mind if I ask, where your interest is leaning? So you don't want to be shocked at the end if they don't accept your position. You want to know early on, hey, they're leaning to this role because of this. I need to try to get them a couple thousand more if I can. I need to figure out what a driving force is. So knowing that, being able to talk about their other options. And then I think when you do have an offer for a candidate, you do have to really sell it to them. So I'm not sure, to be honest, how from a campus recruiting or an in-house company perspective, if you guys are the ones presenting the offer to candidate.
Typically, yep.
Typically, okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think, one of the issues we see, and you guys probably see this a lot too then, is candidates, oh, I'm really interested. I have another interview at the end of the week. I want to see how that goes, and then I'll get back to you. No, I think that's, you never want to leave that option open. If you have any chance, I think that is great for a candidate perspective, because if they have multiple offers, they're going to go to the other interview. I need to get a decision from you today. I actually have this other offer for 60,000, and I mean, they're for sure going to beat you out. So I think you need to, whenever you're presenting an offer, you need to have a quick deadline. I think you want to flatter the person or the candidate somewhat, because you want them to feel like they're a good fit for your company, but you also don't want to make them feel as if they're that amazing and the only one. So when you're giving them a deadline, I would almost say something like, we did have several other great candidates interview this position. Maybe one hiring manager, you would say in particular, was really fond of another candidate. We want to get an offer out to them quickly. If this isn't the right fit for you, I understand. So you want to sell it to them, they are not probably the only candidate out there, especially if you're working with recent college graduates. So I always like them to think that there's competition for them too. And, they need to work for it. It is competitive on both ends.
Well, seriously, I mean, especially in your field, right? It's legal.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, we usually do only have 1 or 2 good candidates for our positions, because we're looking usually for people in the 3 to 5 year experience range for most of our roles. So those people don't want to move, or they want to move to go into a company like your own. So it is hard persuading them, and we usually don't have that many candidates. But if we allow them to think they're, 1 in a million, they're gonna want everything. And so I think I'm sure the companies you're working for are great places to work too. So I would just make sure that going into it, you're excited about the job, you're excited about the perks, the salary you can offer, and you think it's a sweet deal. If you don't think it is, the candidates probably aren't going to. So I think with us, we have to communicate with our clients when no one's going to be interested in that position, quite frankly. So you guys, when you're talking to a hiring manager about a position within your company, I would think you would just need to be clear with them. Sure, if this is what you're looking for, this is the salary range you want us to offer, that's great. But based on me talking to undergraduates last year, they're getting offered this. So just really making sure everyone's knowledgeable, you know, the hiring manager, because you're probably the one actually talking to the candidates first. So you have kind of more information there. And I think they appreciate that.
Well, seriously, I mean, I think in this hypothetical scenario, I'm at fault of that, where I am more of a generalist, not a specialist.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, everyone talks about, hey, recruiters need to be trusted advisors, right? You're like, whether it's your company or somewhere else, they need to almost know that you are going to make the best decision alongside with them based on their knowledge, their expertise of their market. I'm curious, Alexis, because I know that wasn't the case for me talking to campus recruiters, but like, as you're going through the thick of internships, knowing that you're a marketing major, did you have instances of recruiters that knew like, hey, I know you're applying to other jobs. I know what marketing people are making. Like, did they have that level of trust and credibility with you, or was it more of a generalist thing? I'm just curious, like, if that's still the case from 2018 to 2020.
Yeah, that's a good question, especially because now everything's changing, right? Everything. So I'm trying to think last year, or I guess, this past spring, I feel like the recruiters, they were very open. Like they wanted the candidates to be able to talk with them about everything that they're going through, just like April was saying, like being able to be open and just talking. So yes, they were they're like, hey, like, how is everything going for you? Like, are you applying to other places? So I did actually experience, like, they wanted, before we dove into any interviews, they were having that conversation like, hey, how is your applying process going for internships? So yeah, definitely.
I gotcha. No, because that's, I mean, like, at least for me, I feel like I don't hear that often, right? And April, and let me know, like, because I sort of want to wrap a bow on this. Like I said, short, sweet, straight to the point, and let me know if I missed anything from the notes that we're taking here. It seems like, hey, first, before anything, it's just identifying those selling points and that perks for the role, right? And if I am that in-house campus recruiter, am I even excited about the company and the benefits that I get? Because if I'm not, it's almost disingenuous at that point trying to sell somebody something
it's
that
hard.
it's hard. Yeah, I mean, talk about cognitive dissonance. Like internally, I don't feel it, so how is my behavior going to showcase that? And then the second thing, I don't think a lot of campus recruiters, at least the conversations I've had, they don't think like salespeople. And recruiting or sales are one-to-one, where you have to be knowledgeable about the market. You have to have a good pulse. You have to kind of understand your competitive landscape to feel like, okay, I can take somebody from here to here and walk them through that journey. And the third thing, what I gathered from you, is always positioning and kind of this fine balancing act of make the candidate feel good, but also get firm decisions from them. Because you don't want them to hang you in limbo of, oh, maybe, what about this, what about that? Then it just increases that time to fill. So those were kind of the three big things that I took away as far as, hey, what does quote unquote closing a candidate look like? How do you sell them on these points and offers? Anything else that you think I might have missed, or anything you'd add on to that before I go out and execute on these scenarios, which I deeply need to do?
No, I would say that's great. And yeah, just staying in communication with the person. I think I believe in-house or recruiting for those type of roles sometimes may take longer because you guys have quite a few processes. So I would be in contact with the person, you know, if it more than a few days goes by, hey, we're still excited about your application. I'm trying to connect you with this person. I think that might set you guys apart rather than kind of, and that also would probably build a better rapport so you are able to ask them those questions more about their other interview process, because they might think you care, you're keeping them in the loop, you obviously know what's going on. It's not just another random candidate that, you know, you'll forget about.
And real quick, how do you keep this information organized? I mean, you and even in-house, you're talking to lots of people. How do you make sure that people just aren't a number at the end of the day and I actually can pull up whatever? Do you use any systems or tools that
yeah, so I'm not sure. So we have a database, obviously, so we log and can look up candidates by their information. We have another thing. I think this might be like a Microsoft or something type program, so people could have access to it. We have OneNote, but I'm sure there are a lot of other options, like a almost binder folder system. So I might have candidates in the interview stage, candidates, you know, second round, candidates to consider if this role comes up again. So just kind of, I don't know, I actually did have a actual paper filing system for a while with folders, but now I'm working from home. So I'd say any similar file notebook type system you could just drag, you know, resume PDFs or Word documents and stick into, and then write a few notes. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I can barely read my chicken scratch. So I'm starting to move to sort of just like whether it be Google Drive, OneNote, just having it on there. I know I can read it. It's legible, right? It's going to come out the same. But I think we've got lots of work to do. We've identified those selling points, understand how to be knowledgeable about the market, build a good rapport with the candidate so you can ask them the tough questions of, hey, what other opportunities are you looking at? What excites you about that opportunity? Why now? Why them? Really getting them to understand their candidate journey so that way you can sort of be an advocate for them, not just with the candidate, but also the hiring manager. And then I don't think I'm missing anything else as far as staying organized. Keep up that filing system. If you're paper, if you don't have chicken scratch like me, kudos to you, but keep it all organized. And thank you again for coming on board. Like I said, the listeners that are going to be listening on, we've got lots of work to do.
Appreciate it, guys. Best of luck with everything, and
Awesome.
Keep in touch and reach out if you have ever questions that I can help with for both of you.
Yeah, seriously. Well,
Thank
thank you again.
you.
Bye.